Welcome to the Witch Trials, where fear, superstition, and power collide in chilling tales of accusation, torment, and tragedy, unveiling the darkest chapters of human history. In the 17th century, fear of witchcraft was at an all-time high in England. But one man took this fear to horrifying new heights. Matthew Hopkins, self-proclaimed Witchfinder General, launched a reign of terror that led to hundreds of accusations, trials, and executions. Who was this man, and how did his witch-hunting methods turn into one of the darkest chapters in history? In this episode, we unravel the story of the Witchfinder General and his chilling legacy. During the English Civil War, 1642 to 1651, uncertainty and chaos created fertile ground for fear and superstition. This is when Matthew Hopkins emerged, claiming a divine mission to rid the countryside of witches. Hopkins, a lawyer by training, first gained notoriety in 1644 when he accused an elderly widow named Elizabeth Clark of witchcraft in Manningtree, Essex. His methods were brutal and unrelenting, including the swimming test. Suspects were thrown into water. Floating was seen as proof of guilt because water was believed to reject witches. Sleep deprivation. A psychological tactic to force confessions from the accused. Devil's mark searches. Hopkins would search the body for marks or blemishes believed to be used by the devil to feed his witches. What set Hopkins apart from others was his scale of operations. Over just 3 years, Hopkins and his assistant, John Stern, were responsible for over 300 accusations and dozens of executions, more than the total of the previous century in England. Entire villages fell victim to his witch-hunting frenzy, with people turning on neighbors, friends, and even family out of fear. One of his most notorious trials involved a coven of suspected witches in Suffolk. These trials drew crowds and spread Hopkins' notoriety. He even wrote a guide, The Discovery of Witches, which detailed his methods and justified his actions as divine work. However, by 1647, public opinion shifted. People began to question Hopkins' legitimacy, accusing him of using witch trials for profit. Some say he charged towns exorbitant fees for his services, exploiting fear for personal gain. Others began to suspect his methods were as cruel and superstitious as the witchcraft he claimed to fight. Hopkins died in the same year, reportedly from tuberculosis, but legends suggest he may have fallen victim to his own swimming test, poetic justice, if true. Matthew Hopkins' reign as Witchfinder General is a stark reminder of what unchecked fear and paranoia can do to a society. His actions led to hundreds of ruined lives, and his name remains infamous in the history of witchcraft. Was he truly a believer in the supernatural, or was he a man driven by greed and power? As we continue our journey into the world of witches, we'll explore more chilling tales and leave you to decide what's real and what's the stuff of legend.